Good evening. I'd like to call the regular meeting of North Branford Planning and Zoning for Thursday, July 14th to order. In attendance are members Hawkins, Sienna, Galdenzi, and Dulac. First order of business of the minute meetings from May 19th and June 16th, which everybody should have gotten in their little packet. Let's see. So the one thing is the June 16th meeting minutes we can't do because we need Fran and Dave and Bill for that one. So we'll go on to the May 19th one, which I'm not sure who was here for that one. Do you have a copy of that here?
Yes.
They were in the package prior. Let's see who was here. Absent was Bill, Fran, and Charlie. So myself, Dave, and Ron. Did anybody?
Here are copies.
Does everybody need a copy of those?
Yeah, I don't have a copy.
Here.
Oh, we get.
Oh, the 16th?
May 19th. Okay.
We'll see if they got
See if they,
Oh.
just because it's gonna, now we're gonna have 3 sets at the next meeting.
They're quicker speed.
Making the agenda heavy.
Oh, here's Fran. So
Oh.
We can.
do
Yeah. That one.
Fran and Dave, yeah.
Now seated for the regular meeting is member Leskowitz. We're doing the May 19th minutes.
Yeah.
Carrie runs a tight ship. She says if we're starting on time or we're not starting at all.
It's a nice summer evening. Keep business rolling.
I was hoping for more lightning.
It didn't rain at all where I was.
Yeah, well, it's just great. It's really. Okay, that's the one where we did this.
What are we doing? Are we gonna go start with the May ones first?
Yeah, we're doing the May ones, yep. So for that one, it would be myself, Ron and Dave.
Make a motion to accept this presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye? That passes 3-0.
You could sign. Do-
Oh, well,
We'll go back on this.
so the 16th was Fran, Bill, and Dave.
You make a motion, we accept it, the minutes for the 16th.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Abstain.
Ron and I abstain, that passes 3-0.
Would you remove these?
Oh, no.
I'm just gonna, just so they don't get confused.
Let's see, old business, we got the same. Bill, you gotta sign this one. Old business, it's a PZ application 2014-15-6, it's still with
I have,
DEP?
yes, but I just wanna make an announcement. So the application for the wetlands portion, I should say, just to clarify, this is for the proposal of propane at 40 Cerro Road. The wetlands application is now with the state and has reached the Office of Adjudications, which is part of DEP. A hearing has been set for September 8th, 2016 at 6:30 p.m. and will be held in North Branford at the auditorium. So the auditorium between the NBIS and the high school.
Does anybody have a calendar?
September 8th.
Oh, 8.
At 6:30. So that's a Thursday.
The state's holding that public?
The state is
What's it called?
an adjudicatory hearing. So it is open to the public. Public comment is welcome.
Is there a time frame for that? Like, it can only stay open for
This-
30 days? Or?
Oh, the hearing?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I spoke with the officer. He said that he is going to set a time limit on speakers, I think to maybe 3 minutes a person. But it's his goal to try and finish all the collection of comment that evening. If he has to continue, he will. but,
So-
you know, they have a set schedule in here, so they talk about the hearing process, and there's more information on DEP's website, and we're gonna have a link to that on our website so that people can go to DEP's resource, because I'm not familiar with the process, but just in this document that was sent to the town, it does have a schedule about written public comments will be accepted until the close of business on September 12th, and then they have a hearing being continued for the collection of evidence on September 13th. So there's an ongoing, they have a set timeline and a schedule to collect evidence and then
What's the,
And then
I
render-
hear both sides and then render a decision.
thought they already made a decision.
Something. No,
If they made a decision, then they put it out for,
Oh, they made a decision.
they made a draft decision and then it's available or open for public comment for 30 days. And during that 30 days, they received enough signatures to request a public hearing, which pushed it to a public hearing, requiring them to collect more evidence.
So if their first one's on the September 8th, when would be a next one? What would it take?
No idea.
So in other words, there could be a decision as early as late September. You figure out, they collect information on one meeting, and then they
Possibly.
close it out at the next meeting, and then it comes to us. So
Possibly.
we should be prepared for late September or October, if it's
Right.
approved by the
And I'll
Browns.
keep in
All right.
contact with them,
All right,
so.
okay. All right, new business, application 2016-10, that's for 190 Tuckett Road.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Bob Cruscovo, and what I'd like to do is walk you through the project plan for Mr. Capelli. And if I may, get this here. Okay, I thought I would start you out with really what this property is about. The address is 190 Tuckett Road. The parcel is shown on my survey map in red. It is about 2 acres in size. It's 85,000 square feet. This is a B1 zone. It has 315 feet of frontage onto Tuckett Road, and it is 300 feet in depth. It's located approximately 1,500 feet northerly from Foxton Road. So if you're looking at this, my north arrow is this way to Tuckett Road. Foxton Road is down here. It's a parcel on the left. Very nice parcel of land. It has a relatively flat area up in front. It has a steep section that goes down to a wetland towards the west side. This is a site development plan that we worked our way through inland wetlands and do have an approval on. It also has a drainage easement proposed over this area, and that's been on the record map. This used to be 2 lots, it was subdivided, I think probably about 15 years ago, and this is a lot combined. So the proposal by Don Capelli, who runs Commercial Air, and they are mechanical contractors. So they install and service HVA systems, and he just told me it's very, very busy now because of the weather. But his office right now on his site is on Foxton Road. They work out of a smaller facility, so this would be a larger home for them. But the proposal is a 55-foot wide by 160-foot building, and I've indicated that in yellow. There again, in the reddish orange is the property line. Building would be about 8,800 square feet, and you can see on our proposal we have 2 curb cuts, one directly in, and arrows which would be painted and one out, so your traffic flow is a uniform traffic flow in and out. We have 15 spaces up in front, so really from the front part of the building towards the street, for that portion would be a paved parking lot, and there is 4 spaces proposed on the very side of the building. The rear of it, the shaded area here, would be processed stone, and there are garage bays and entranceways in the rear, and I will show you very shortly. There is an island, and this is a grass island here. There's a large area, 50 foot plus or minus, grass area here. The rear area will all remain unimproved, and it would be wooded the way it is right now. And a small area over here is also proposed to be wooded. That's sheet 1 of 5, which is really the layout plan. Sheet 3 of 5 is the grading and the utility plan. It shows there again the building, proposed grades, and really we're building the building just about at the grade that's there. There are no major earthwork activities on this site. It's a very sandy soil site, no rock. A little bit of cutting up in this corner right over here because the land goes up, but in general is pretty flat. It's proposed to be serviced by gas and sewer, and there's a wastewater system in the rear of the building proposed that was approved by East Shore Health Department. We have a drainage system up in front, and I described what that was through wetlands, but basically it's designed for pollution reduction, and we're balancing pre versus post flows for manuals that and standards that are included in the state of Connecticut 2004 stormwater pollution control manual. So we're collecting runoff, we're providing on-site storage and recharge retention on-site through a series of valleys, so that the net result of all this is about 2,100 cubic feet of runoff is being stored through, and you can see these little blocks are catch basins. In back of the blocks are 4x4 galleys. So when the rain comes and it's a gentle rain, it goes into the galleys. This is very, very sandy soils. You'll get groundwater recharge. But if we get a real good storm that keeps coming, or that magical thunderstorm, and these fill up really, really quick, and that would be well over an inch in an hour, then there is a drainage system proposed down in this area, which has been approved, reviewed and approved by the
Is that a
Wetlands
swell?
Commission.
Is that a swell type?
Well, I piped it because there's a little bit of grade difference. There's a pipe proposed here that goes into a riprap area, that goes into a swale, that goes down into the wetland area.
Because are you still going to improve the road drainage?
Yes,
You said that when you came in.
Yes, that is true, and that is included within the project plans. And the owner has been talking with your town engineer about who does what responsibility. And that's a very good point. About, was it a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we did commit to that because this area right here floods, because I think these are dry wells and it just filled up over time, and there's no pre-treatment, so all the silts and all the sands have filled up on them and basically have failed. So part of the improvement includes new basins there, connecting into the basin here and then out that way, which I think when it originally was designed, the lots, that was the intention. So we'll fix that problem. Other plans that you have are 4 and 5 are details, project details.
Before you do that, just sorry, your 1 of 5 had something over here that I don't see on my 1 of 5. Up to the north end of the front, within the lot area.
You mean here?
Yeah, right, what is that?
Okay, this is
Doesn't
just
see it on mine, and
a
that's-
schematic, and what you have is, and I'll get into the entire proposal, but this was early on a thought, and I wanted to mention that to you, that we wanted to landscape this area.
Yeah.
In the progression of the plans, and I think the plans that you have before you, and I'll show you, we've hired a licensed landscape architect, Larry Appleton, who has designed a more detailed plan than what Bob Costello could do as a civil engineer. So anyway, 4 is really the project details, and we can talk about it, but really is the nuts and bolts of how this is going to go together, from stormwater to paving, to process stone, to the septic system. And sheet number 5 includes something that I thought was very important to the Wetlands Commission, which is the project narrative, planting, grading guidelines, and seeding guidelines with erosion control details. And And Bill, what you had mentioned is that this plan, which it is, should be in your set, which is labeled LA1, we retain the services of licensed landscape architect Larry Appleton. And as a professional, I wanted to put our best step forward. And you can see that the landscaping plan includes a lot more planting for this buffer that Bob Crisolo could do. For instance, along here, he's chosen Alaska cedars and white pines, and you can see how he staggered them in a manner for his thought and his expertise that will create a border here, because this is obviously a residential neighborhood up in that area. And he's kind of done the same in the front. He has cedar trees, he has witch hazel trees. They're all 5 to 6 feet high. These white pines are specified anywhere from, I think they start at 5 feet because of the sight line, and they go back to a 7-foot height. So you have a nice, you're gonna have really a nice buffer planting there.
Do you know which are which? Which are the cedar and which are the white pine?
Yes, I do. Your plan should include a key up in this area. And for instance, if you go to A, there's a plant list and it says A4. And then when you go to your plan, you'll see a 4 and a B2. That all gets keyed in. And I hope I don't have an AutoCAD problem.
Oh, you know what?
I apologize, I do. What?
This is decisions.
Yeah, okay. So what I have is, there's a plan key here, and those, unfortunately, are, these little circles
Are not shown.
probably didn't show up on the plot,
Right.
and I will give you that plan, but that's how this all works.
Okay.
The pine, those eastern white pines, are those the deer like those trees?
No.
Okay.
No, I've talked, our experience in talking with Larry Appleton, there are trees that we are aware of, shrubs that, like arborvitaes, he calls them fruit salads for the deer. And you can really see how they all kind of get pruned up, but he's chosen plants here that are not well liked by the deer. Because obviously we have a big watershed behind here, way behind that Farm River is, and there's a lot of deer. So we did our best to pick plants, or he did, that would be not be by that. So we have a professional landscaping plan. In addition, we have done an isolux plan, site lighting plan, which is in your set. And that plan shows my whole lights, and that's kind of on my plan. I colored them up so that they're easier to see. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in front. There's a couple on this side, a couple in the back, and then there are building mounted lights. There are 11 of them. All of them are full cutoff fixtures. You can see the details on the right-hand side, so that when you look at them, they are shielded and the light is recessed within them. And then the brightness of the light, if I may say it that way, is all on the plan. So I don't have very, very bright spots. I don't have very dark spots. I achieved through the use of that plan a nice uniform lighting on the site. And you can see that around the perimeter, the numbers basically go to 0 so that there won't be spillover on neighbors' properties. So we were really concerned about that. We heard the concerns from the neighbors during that meeting. And
Before you, sorry, just the design or type of lighting is on the right-hand side, is that correct?
these are the details
Okay.
that go on the building and on the poles. And then the pole specifications are down here. And that all relates to the manufacturer, McGraw, Edison. And they are purchased locally.
Okay.
Is the new light pollution lights where they project down and not out?
That is correct. You can see on the detail, they are directly down. There are no lights being proposed. You can look at see the light itself, with what are called wall packs. Those you can do, in ways generally a contractor would like them, you could probably do 2 of them because they broadcast the light. But this lighting plan, you got to do all these poles around it because it's very concise and really is aimed downward. And architecture of the building is very important, obviously. Mr. Capelli went to the architects and Scott Small, who's a resident of the town. My opinion, kind of produced a nice plan. And you can see the front elevation that's in the middle. He's got the hip roofs. There's really components of the building in which on A1, you see the floor plan, left-hand side of the building is warehouse. The center is where you would walk in, there's a reception area, and there's a couple of offices in the lunchroom. On the right-hand side is the shop, and then there's an area that goes up to the second floor, which is a training area that Don will have for his employees, and a storage area. And you can see from the elevations of the building that this is the central part of the building that will have the entrance, offices, and upstairs portion that would be training, and this was storage, and this was shop. So that's the front view, and this is the rear view with the overhead doors. And he is still working on siding, and this is showing a like a clapboard type of siding that is labeled by the architect cement siding, but he's thinking about looking at other type of siding, similar product, but maybe more of a shingle-like, and those details, because these are at planning zone standards. He worked with, he was aware of what the neighborhood was requesting, and we were trying to blend in that type of look with that one building. So, in summary, that's the proposal, and I apologize about that AutoCAD being turned off, but I will fix that tomorrow. And Don is here if you have any questions directly as the owner.
Inside the building, one of the sections is called the shop. What would happen, what goes on in the shop? For business?
That's our service parts warehouse, basically. We don't really have anybody that works in our shop. There's only 4 of us in the office. But our technicians do come in the morning to get their parts and equipment or tools or whatever they need for the day. And that's what's going in. It's gonna be mostly shelving.
So most of the service you do is obviously a location.
It's off location. We don't do any, we don't perform any physical work at our location. Our business, we're a commercial service company, so we go to the client's location.
You don't do like sheet metal work or anything like that?
We do not have a sheet metal fabrication shop.
Question I had was looking at the garage doors in the front and the location of the parking. I'm trying to find the distance between the parking space and the garage door for a truck to make a swing.
24 feet, and this will easily handle box trucks. They also, with the one-way, will handle a small tractor trailer if that does occur, but we don't anticipate that happening. So what we've done is that we've kept this is a 30-foot wide curb cut, and it's one way in, and the truck can make the turn this way. There is some loading bays here that he would unload, and then keep going out and then down back to Foxen Road.
What would the
Access to the old building.
Old building.
The existing building you had on Route 80. Will there be a road from this new
No.
building to the old one?
No, none is planned.
Okay, it'll come out to the Tilby Road, catch the light, and go back into the existing
Yeah,
building.
traffic would come up to Tuckett Road, come in, park, and then leave.
You're not planning on abandoning the other building, are you? Rip it out?
We have the other building, the 2-acre lot on the corner. We have that well, we had it, actually it's off the market at the moment, but we had that listed for a land lease.
Oh, okay.
With the idea that most likely those buildings would be demolished and some type of a retail building would go there.
So your whole operation is moving to this new facility?
Yes, we're not gonna maintain any of that anymore at all. If we fail to find a tenant for that property, then we'll rent out those buildings as they are.
Then if you have the bays in the front, what would the bays in the back be used for?
Well, they're designed for entrance both ways.
There was a concern.
You
that
can't,
the-
you can't get trucks back there, right, because you're not, it's gonna be earth, it's gonna be mostly gravel, so you would
A
just.
pickup
most of
truck
the-
or a regular UPS type truck could go in the rear without a problem. But the intention was, because it's a long, narrow building, we wanted to have the traffic flow that go right in through the front and through the rear. Most of the activity is gonna be from the rear of the building.
What do you mean you have vans?
Yes, we have
Yeah, I've
service
seen your
vans.
vans, service
Yeah,
vans.
we have like 1-ton vans,
Yeah.
for
So you get
transit
deliveries
vans.
of parts and stuff that they use for their day?
Yeah, so
They'll
there
be
was
stored
a
in this area, your
concern.
vans come, get it in the morning.
Yeah,
Stock
so
up for the day.
at the original, planning and zoning meeting, there was a concern that, when the guys come in the morning to get their parts, you'd be a lot of activity on Tucker Road, so we put the doors in the back, so that our technicians could drive around the back and load up their parts without causing the disruption on the front of the road. We
I
put
was
the
gonna
front
ask you for
doors
the
in
hours.
mostly for if we get deliveries.
What are your hours, what are your anticipated hours? When I
Our,
get going in the morning.
our men normally work 7:30 to 4, so we usually go in the office about 7 o'clock, and we're here till about 4:30.
So the front doors again would be used for deliveries of
Yeah, if we
supplies?
have a forklift, so if we have to unload, sometimes we get palletized items, air filters and whatnot, we can unload them and drive them into the building. That typically occurs like during the day.
How many vans do you have?
We have 20 vehicles
So
altogether.
they'll all be coming here at night?
No, nobody comes back
Yeah,
at
they
night.
come- they
Our
go to the-
technicians
yeah.
all work out of their homes. We keep a spare van at the shop,
Yeah.
and we have a pickup truck, we have a little rack body, we have a little box truck. So if you look at the right side of the drawing on the site plan, Bob shows a fence from the front of the building, we're talking about an opaque fence. And we would store our spare vehicles in the rear so they wouldn't be seen. The dumpsters and everything would go back there as well.
So you don't have a loading bay?
No, we do not, we don't have one now.
Slab on grade, at grade.
We really don't require it, it's not something that our operation really uses.
So, can you talk a little bit more about the fence, so chain link fence with slats? Is that what you mean by opaque?
Well, right, we have specified a 6-foot high chain link fence, and Don was thinking about having that screen with the PVC that goes in it.
If he doesn't do it.
And where's the fence?
Okay, that fence is shown on the site plan sheet 1 of 5. That basically goes from the front of the building along the edge of the front parking area, and then goes along here, along the back, and then ties back into the
Okay.
building. So there's a secured area on the back of the building.
Can I ask a question? On your floor plan, you have shop and you have warehouse,
Yes.
quite a large part of the building. If you don't do any work there, what are those for?
You should visit our shop now. Pretty much can't walk inside the door. We stock a lot of parts. We have all types of tools and equipment that we bring to
So that would
job
be your
sites.
warehouse?
Yes, correct. As well, we call it shop and warehouse. It's almost the same thing, other than probably in the more towards the left side of the building where we put the bigger doors. We'll probably put our bigger truck inside there. But more or less, less used tools on the left side, more used stuff on the right side, so we don't have to heat the entire thing all winter.
Here, you wanna read any,
Who's doing the HVAC?
You know anybody?
24-foot gate,
No, it's like, are we still on board with that?
Yeah, it's kind of a once-a-day thing.
Yeah. Because there is some topography that goes up.
And Carrie's gonna read into the comments that we received.
So this is from East Shore Health District. They say that East Shore Health District is in receipt of a septic design for this proposal. The property will be served by public water. The owner applicant will need to submit an East Shore District Health Department application for lot development plan. We recommend approval. That was from Alex Zanati. Kurt Weiss stated there are no outstanding engineering staff comments regarding this proposal. The drainage work included in Totucket Road will alleviate a long-standing ponding situation in Totucket Road, with the result being a significant improvement to town facilities. A drainage easement along the southerly property line is proposed. This should be granted to the town in a formal meeting, in a form meeting the approval of the town attorney prior to commencing work on this project.
Is that when the whole road's gonna be regraded there?
No.
Next-
No, what's happening is there's two basins that are there right now, in low point, and those are shown on the plan. And the drainage plan shows that those will be replaced, and there's a pipe going this way, and then the blue line is the drainage easement proposed.
And those are currently the dry wells, right? So they actually
That
don't
is
go
correct.
anywhere. Which is why, and they're silted up.
They are silted up, correct.
They're taking two out and just adding one.
I didn't follow your question.
Well, you said there's two on the plan, and you're saying, right now it's only showing one on the right side of the road, one on the left is being removed.
That's, not quite true. There's one here, and we're showing a future connection, which was gonna be by the town. The one that's problematic, Dave, is the one that's kinda where the road actually widens, and Kurt wants it straightened out, so we're showing a new basin, and then a new set of pipes to a manhole with a stub here for future connection for the town, and then going down the right of way.
Shows the one on the right connected to the pipe, not the one on the left. This one's connected to the pipe, this one's not.
That one is gonna be abandoned,
All right.
because, see, the line of the pavement is here. Kurt wants the client to put in bituminous to straighten that out. This will be brand new.
Okay, so that's gonna be a drain.
Yes.
Okay, so I see, you still need catch pictures. This didn't have a picture, that's why it was. I thought it was like a
There's
connection box.
There's a lot of information there.
Okay, the Regional Water Authority, this is, property within the watershed, so this is from Ron Walters. He said that the Regional Water Authority has reviewed the above referenced application. The property is within the Farm River Public Water Supply watershed. The applicant is proposing to construct an 8,800 square foot building, heated with gas and served by on-site septic. Stormwater will be directed to two subsurface infiltration galleries. Wetlands are located on the western portion of the property. So just as a quick side note, this obviously has been before wetlands and they did receive approval, so the Regional Water Authority commented at that time as well. And basically, in summary, they just recommend erosion sedimentation control should be installed prior to any site work, inspected on a weekly basis and after each rainfall. Any excavated material stored on site for any length of time shall be stabilized. And it talks about wetlands and water courses should be well buffered from site disturbance. And again, that was all addressed in the wetlands approval. During construction, all oil, paint, or other hazardous materials stored in a secondary container. And if fuel is to be stored on site, it should be located within a secondary containment system as well. And vehicle maintenance should be conducted indoors on an impervious surface. No discharges of motor vehicle fluids or detergent chemicals to the environment. and that's from Ron Walters. And there's no floor drains or anything proposed.
No floor drains.
The building official, Tom Cowell, said the proposed construction must be in compliance with the building code in effect at the time of application. And the zoning officer did not have any comments. I didn't have any formal written comments from the fire marshal, but in the motion that I drafted, I just cited referencing any recommendations made by the fire marshal, if the commission were to approve it this evening. One question that I had was about signage. I didn't know what the plan was for a sign on the property and
Yeah.
or on the building.
We kinda didn't come up with that exactly yet. I guess we'll address that as a separate permit afterwards. We have a sign currently in a planter in front of our office now. We were actually thinking about maybe moving that whole thing, planter and all, over to the buffer area in the front,
Okay.
like kind of in front of the office section. But that's kind of hasn't been determined yet.
Okay.
We don't need a big sign or a lighted sign or anything like that.
How about outside storage?
Be no outside storage in the front of the building at all. Anything outside would be in the back in the fences.
Do you anticipate having any outside storage?
Well, we have a dumpster
Yeah, yeah.
and we have a recycling dumpster.
Right.
We have a metal recycling dumpster for our parts. We have a couple trucks we're probably gonna park back there that are like, shop trucks. So aside from that,
Nothing outside?
No, and that's one of the things now is that a lot of times when we receive large pieces of equipment or whatever, they have to sit outside because we have no place to put them. So hence the larger doors and buildings, so we can put the stuff inside.
Do you do your own vehicle service, or is that?
We do some very light vehicle service, otherwise the stuff goes back to the dealer.
On the lighting plan, do you actually have a style for the lights that were gonna be the pole lights?
It's listed on the page, right?
Yeah, what do you mean style?
Yeah. Yeah, this is-
I have manufacturer specifications on the lighting, yes.
yeah, this is the pole light,
Oh, okay. All right.
and this is the wall.
Correct. There's a manufacturer's cut of each one.
Did you look at any other designs for lighting? It was just, my opinion, it just looked more, I know that it meets the standards, but this is just my opinion of, more kind of industrial and commercial as opposed to residential, which is surrounding
We
the
would be,
building.
we would be willing to look at other fixture types if that's where you're getting at. In keeping with the same lighting levels and uniformity that we have. But if you're looking for something softer, we could look into that. For instance, a lot of times when I see like at the state train stations and in Branford and some of the other ones, you have like a bell type of light, we could look into those. And maybe that would make sense for the ones that are mounted up in front, and maybe we could leave the other ones alone in the back, if that would be okay. But yes, we could
Yeah,
do that.
it just came across to me just because it's residences surrounding
Yes.
that, definitely to the
Yeah.
east and north.
I was so concerned about making them compact and small.
Right, and
but
these
we-
meet all of the qualifications,
we
I'm just
could-
asking the question.
I think we could satisfy your comments.
Question on the parking enrollment, it says 29 parking places.
Yes.
On the site plan, I see 4, 8, and 7, and 6, so that gives you 12, 19, 25.
That looks like there's some on the question.
Yeah, there's 6 over there, there's 4 at the bottom to the left, and there's 8 in the front, and another 7, and then 6 in the back.
And then in the back, I have 4.
Oh, right. Couldn't see that one
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that print. And keep in mind, those parking spaces are probably never gonna be
Right.
used. Based on, it's just trying to comply with your regulation.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything else?
Oh, sorry, just one thing that I had in my notes is on the application, you had requested site development plan under C-1, which was retail. And in looking at the table, it seems like C-11 fits a little bit better. It's still site plan review and all that, but the description is painting, plumbing, electrical, woodworking, sheet metal, blacksmith, welding, tire recapping.
Yes, I agree.
I know that you don't do many of those things, but it seems to be a better fit than
If
retail.
you think that is the right line item, then yes, that.
Okay. So I think that's what the motion has in there as well, is
Good. Oh, here it is.
section C-11.
15 is the final, that'd be a special. How about the lights? We have to add the lighting, is it?
That's up to you. That's up to you.
I think it's a very good point. I think they're open.
Limited discretion if carried. We don't have to leave it open, we can approve it with approval of the lights when they change it.
Approved lighting plan, approved by the town planner.
Wait.
Oh, come on.
That's it, right?
Carry on chandelier lighting.
Yeah.
The difference with.
I move to approve application 2016-10 site development plan under section C11 for proposed construction of a new building, associated parking, grading, installation of a septic tank, storm drainage system, and landscaping at 190 Kentucky Road, assessor map 22, lot 3. It's zone B1, owner Donald Kelly, agent Criscola Engineering LLC, as submitted on application documents and shown on plans prepared by Criscola Engineering LLC entitled Property Located at 190 Kentucky Road, North Branford, Connecticut, prepared for Kentucky Land Holdings LLC, containing the following sheets entitled Sheet 1 of 5, Site Layout Plan, dated October 26, 2015, revised May 9, 2016. Sheet 2 of 5, Existing Conditions Plan, dated October 26, 2015, revised to April 15, 2016. Sheet 3 of 5, Grading and Utility Plan, dated October 26, 2015, revised to May 9, 2016. Sheet 4 of 5, Site Details, dated October 26, 2015, revised April 15, 2016. Sheet 5 of 5, Erosion and Sedimentation Control Notes and Details, dated October 26, 2015, revised to April 15, 2016. And LA1, Site Landscaping Plan, dated May 26, 2016. The lighting plan prepared by Reflex Lighting, 190 Pawtucket Road, Site Calc, dated May 12, 2016. Architectural plans prepared by Elm City Architects. Sheet A1 and A2, preliminary plans, commercial air services, 24 Foxton Road, North Branford, Connecticut, dated May 24, 2016, with the following standard conditions: 2, 4, 7, 9, 10, 14, 15, 17, 18, 21, and special condition, improved lighting plan approved by the town planner.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was a tie, somebody needs to break a tie.
It doesn't matter.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to say one thing, that the owner and, has really remembered all when we had the open meeting with the residents, and you certainly took all their concerns into your plan.
Thank
So
you.
That was good.
Anyone else? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, that passes 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before we get to other business, where there's two things on there, we'd like to have somebody to amend other business, so we could first take up, a discussion with the zoning enforcement officer on 435 Foxton Road.
I make a motion to amend the agenda, tonight's agenda, to add the discussion of 435 Pawtucket Road,
Foxton.
Foxton Road, with the zoning enforcement officer.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, actually, it's with the current property owner, Mr. Soloway.
Okay.
About the zoning of his property, 435, so.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm Scott Soloway. I've owned the property at 435 Foxton Road for the last 11 years. It had originally been Mrs. Duty's farm/farm stand, and it had fallen into disrepair. We repaired it and cleaned it up and have used it as a medical office. I believe you changed it to allow this to an R80 zoning, which allows really for a very limited use of the property just as a medical office. Because of the changing climate of medical care, I've chosen to stop practice and to go work for the Yale Health Plan, so I had another physician group in there for the last year, and now I was planning to sell it. In looking to sell the property, it is extremely restrictive with the R80 zone, so that I would have to find either a doctor, a lawyer, some such to use the property as a useful building. And it happens to be right next to Duty's Restaurant, which also is an R80 zone, similar type of situation. So I was really coming to you because I've had two people interested in the property, both of which need a more expansive type of zoning, so they could have a business that was, I think, not more impactful on the neighborhood, on the residents, but would allow for something more on the order of retail or something more on the order of a business that does other than just a doctor's office. But I don't think it's looking towards a 24-hour business. It's looking towards really the same 9 to 5 type of business. I don't really know how to do this. This is just, I'm coming to you to find out what your thoughts are.
So, you'll maybe remember the year exactly. So, looks like 2004, there was an approval
Yes,
to
it was
do
2004.
a special use permit for a historic conversion. So this is it was to allow the existing home or building, I guess, to be added onto and converted from a home to a business. So our regulations allow for that, and that was to allow for your medical business
Yes.
to exist there. So, and there was an addition, I think, done to the building at the time?
Yes, they said that they had specified, Carol was the zoning officer at that time. She came over and she specified which trees she wanted left, and she said we could really do anything to extend the building back and pave the parking lot, but do nothing to the front of the building, and the front of the building has remained and been maintained.
So the challenge is, as Mr. Soloway explained, apologies, this is a smaller map, but, the parcel is zoned residential, so it's zoned R40, it's right here. And Judy's is right here, also zoned residential. And there are residences around it on the other side of, right on the other side of 80, I think is open space.
There's a large open
retention
drainage
pond.
area, yes.
Right.
The old driving range.
Pardon?
And-
The old driving range.
Yes, yes. So it had been commercial. There are, gas stations within a quarter of a mile. It's a funny piece of property. That's the
So
problem.
what are the restrictions on an R80? You can't have our business.
We don't have to do.
It's actually, just to, it's R40, which isn't that different, but it's residential. So it would allow for pretty, everything that you
Professional
explained.
services.
Doctor's offices,
Lawyers,
it's,
professional
right,
services
it's
type.
professional service.
You
Loan
can't,
pack, you can't do retail,
can
Could
look
be
at that.
salon, it could be a
Higher
bed and
use.
breakfast.
What are, so that's
I don't know
what
about
is
salon.
existing, what are you,
Well, one
What
person
are you
who,
looking to
one
change?
person who was very eager to come and take the property, who's a North Branford resident who wants to keep it nice, is proposing to put a 4,000 square foot building behind it for holding materials for his business. I gather the allowance would be for a 1,000-foot building. So, you know, I get stuck with what can be done or what the board would be agreeable to before I tell somebody to come and present a project to you when you're really gonna deny it. It's not, it's just that the whole area is changing. It's no longer a residential area. And you have a restaurant next door, which is really a till midnight or 1 o'clock type restaurant. So it's not really a residential area, but it's not really a commercial area, except you have a restaurant down the road and a gas station down the road.
And I spoke with the party who was interested in purchasing the property, but the challenge was that they wanted to put in this large accessory structure, which is not allowed in a residential zone. It can't exceed 1,000 square feet. So if they wanted to do a 4,000 square foot building, they would need a variance, which I don't know what the hardship would be. So that was unfortunately kind of a dead end. And you mentioned there was like an auto body, and I got a call as well, an auto body shop that was interested, but it's not its own business, so they couldn't go in there. The challenge that I see with rezoning it is that even if we combined the rezoning of that parcel and duties, it would be an island of business in a sea of residential along that stretch, and we can't do just one parcel. And there's also a driveway down to a residence that divides the two parcels.
wouldn't a warehouse that big be put in an industrial park as opposed to R40? Yeah, why would they want to be in an R40 or an R80?
Well, I think-
When, you know, it's in, you know, a warehouse should be in one of our industrial parks.
I think it's more a visibility issue, if I can address that. I think the visibility it was very attractive for me for a medical office. You put my name out there, people know me, they see where my office has changed to. I picked up a lot of patients from the North Branford area. It was effective as a location, and also as an easy location to get in and out on Route 80. It's a snap. So you can drive in, you do your business, and you leave. And so it's better than going off-site to an industrial park where you're in a building where someone has to find you and you get no really advertising benefit, I think. I'm guessing that's what he believes.
Well, I think one thing we should do is take a look at the plan conservation first, development. We can take a look at that and see what we have in there. And that area was deemed residential for a reason. Because I know further down on the, let's see, is that going west on the, they going west, I mean, some of that was changed, for business, but that area we're talking about, duties and those streets.
There was another area that was up further on Route 80 on the left, that there was a lot of talk about changing that from residential to business. And I think that there was, all the residents wouldn't go along with it. I can't remember exactly now. No,
Oh, okay.
this is just.
Let us look into that.
Okay.
We'll just take a look. Again, that is a residential area for a specific reason, we'll do our plan conservation.
Okay, just think about where Dollar General went into, which
Yeah.
is basically the same type of residence. I don't want a Dollar General ultimately. I want something that maintains the property of the neighborhood.
Right.
Dollar General is business zone, that's the difference.
But there's a house on one side, or a couple houses on the other side.
But it's zone, yeah, it's a.
Right, so that's the,
Business.
But the one thing I do have to remember is that once this is changed, I mean, you know, it's something like, it'd be very difficult to stop a Dollar General or somebody, duty saying, okay, I'm gonna close down, I'm gonna put a Walmart. I mean, you know,
Right,
I mean,
right.
we'll have, that's what, I mean, that's why it was, is deemed residential, in that area. Cause it's just, there might be something that fits real nice in there today, but in 5 years, they decide, they're gonna set up on somebody's gonna come and put something in there, and then that nice residential area becomes more of a retail area. So let's take a look at that.
Great, thank you.
And
Thanks for the
we can
consideration.
Get back to you on that.
Okay, super. Thank you.
Also, can't you get the insurance from the houses?
One thing,
But maybe the residential people might be happy to change to business zone, only for future somebody looking for a business lot.
Oh,
If
no,
enough,
yeah.
you know, so a consensus of opinion really.
one thing I'd like to add is the fact
It's been done before.
in defense of Dollar General, what they came in with and the way Kerry had them change it, it's a lot more attractive than what they walked in here with.
Oh, yeah,
And I
yeah.
want to compliment Kerry on the record
Thank you.
for making it, attractive, and it's, we're throwing the word Dollar General around like it's a bad thing, and in fact, it started out, we didn't drive by it many times, it did not look attractive until they put the facade on, and it's looking a lot better.
When they lay down the cement, they invited Carrie to put her name into the cement.
Carrie's Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
They should have.
Can I have a star?
All right, next thing, you wanna do the next thing is election of officers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I don't have anything drafted, so. We'll
Just make a motion, we elect our chairman, co-chairman, and I'll be willing to stay on the secretary, unless one of the other guys wants it.
I second that motion.
Any discussion? Oh, it's tough seeing
I don't know.
See no discussion, all in favor?
Right.
Aye. Any opposed? See none, that passes 5-0.
So that means all the current officers?
Yeah, it was the whole slate, yeah.
Okay.
Did we just have an election now? Has it been a year? Since the last election? In July, how long ago?
Time is flying by. Yeah, I mean, you go multiple years.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so the next, other business, update on zoning board of appeals, recent decision regarding 847 Forest Road.
So this is, 847 Forest Road is Dominic Delvecchio's property in Northford where there had been a liquor store years ago. And there was conversation between Mr. Delvecchio and Tom Fogarty, our zoning officer. Emails back and forth, conversations, discussion about requesting a certificate of nonconformity, saying that the liquor store, even though it was not being occupied at the time, it had a pre-existing non-conforming status because the liquor store was in place and in business in 1965 and in 67 when this regulation went into place, requiring 1,500 feet between two package stores. So there was a request saying that there was this pre-existing non-conforming status, and Tom Fogarty, the zoning officer, denied that request, and it was appealed to the ZBA. After several meetings, the ZBA went against the zoning officer's decision and said that there was evidence that it was there in 1967, and that the fact that it was operating in 1967 when that 1,500-foot rule went into place, even though there was only one liquor store, he was able to get that pre-existing non-conforming status.
What was not conforming about it? If there wasn't a second liquor store?
I don't know. The fact that, I think the argument was that it was there when the regulation went into place, so even though the package store went away, it still had that ability
But it
to
wasn't
be
non-conforming.
non-conforming.
It wasn't non-conforming.
And that's
before
what
it went
that's
back.
what the zoning officer argued. So,
Oh, yeah.
it's my understanding that that is being appealed by the adjacent property owner. So,
Appeal how, to go to our town lawyer?
Are you?
no, appeal to court,
Oh, okay.
Superior Court.
Is this, are you just updating this, or we don't do anything with that, right? You're just updating this?
No, I'm updating you.
Yeah, okay, I'm just. making sure
There
I'm clear.
always is the opportunity for, and I would not recommend this, for planning and zoning to appeal a decision of ZBA. But I think that gets very messy and it's being appealed, so
Yes. Yeah, no, I was just
I don't
curious.
think that there's a role
Was
for
the,
the town.
was Tom there at the ZBA?
Yes.
So, if I understand you, in other words, the liquor store was there in 1967. And at that time, it was made non-conforming
No, they passed the law, you can't.
to liquor stores.
Yeah.
So where does the non-conforming
Well,
go?
that's the point.
It was never non-conforming until 3 years ago, so.
Right.
And another one.
Right,
Now it's become,
right.
so for, yeah.
But it,
So for 50 years, it wasn't, because there was nothing to make it
It
non-conforming.
still is a
for 50
non-conforming,
years.
it still is a non-conforming, because there's not two package
There's not
stores.
one there, right.
There still is only one package.
Well, again, whatever, they decided, then it's being appealed, so
Yep.
let
Yeah.
it roll, let it go.
Makes
through
sense.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just get an update next time.
Yeah. You're on the roll, keep it
Okay,
going.
okay, so that's that. Next meeting, I don't have any other business for August 4th, so I'll keep you posted as it gets closer, but we may just not have a meeting on August 4th.
I know, I won't be.
You won't be at a meeting?
I won't be here.
And
I won't be here on the 18th. I don't know, but I'm almost positive.
So, okay, anyone else know that I actually won't be here on the 4th, so. let's go with one.
I'm here, I can be here on the 4th, but I'm not here on the 18th.
I'm not here on the 12th.
No, Harry on the 4th.
Yeah, I should be
And
here.
Bill, are you away on the 18th?
I'm away on the 18th,
You going later in the vacation?
vacation.
Everyone else here on the 4th? As far as you know?
I'm here on the
Get the day
4th.
off.
The only other thing, I'll just go through quickly. This is, I went to a municipal inland wetlands agency workshop. It was legal and administrative updates. And at the beginning of the meeting, they covered Freedom of Information Act material.
Here, you got that.
Oh, I got it for me. One to make copies.
Oh, there you go.
So I wanted each of you to see this just because I feel like it's very important to know that there's the Freedom of Information Act rules and regulations that we have to follow. And where you guys come in is just, again, depending on the type of meeting, which is listed on the left, determines whether or not we can add items to an agenda or not. Everything else, you really don't have to worry about. But he went over a lot of really great things, talking about quorum. If 2 people constitutes a quorum, there's been case law saying yes it is, no it's not. So if you have a board that has 5 members, typically you think of 3 as being a quorum, but there's been some case law saying that 2 is actually a quorum if business is conducted. So I've talked to the town manager to see if we can have this gentleman from the Freedom of Information Commission come and talk with all boards and commissions, because I feel like there's a lot of really useful information, and it's
Can you just say,
important
what
for
about
us.
the quorum again?
So the quorum typically is the majority of whatever number of members you have.
Which is
So
3
it's
for us.
3 for us. So there's been case law saying that 2 actually constitutes a quorum if you conduct business, not 3. So
What do you mean by conducting business?
Yes, could it be if you had?
if you
Official order
discuss,
for it.
if you discuss a project, he pretty much advised, if there's 2 of you, don't talk about, material
Yeah.
that's before a board. Because you could be coming up with a predetermined decision that the public isn't privy to.
What does filing of minutes mean? You actually complete them?
They have to have them in 7 days.
Yeah, so then we approve, don't approve when we get to it.
Right, and so the
Shortly
other
thereafter.
interesting thing about that is that so when I get the minutes from Janet, those go up on the web. I label them as draft,
Oh, you put them
but I don't change them. And even if there are changes that you make tonight to last meeting's minutes, we make the changes on this meeting's minutes. So we never go back and change the original ones.
Then you file the amended one again.
Right.
You have like 2 of them that come in. You have the draft and the revised one.
Well, they actually just said to keep, if you're doing research, you should look up the meeting minutes from the meeting where your item was discussed and then the next meeting in case there were changes made.
Oh,
So, yeah. Yeah.
My question on that was, let's say Dave and I had a question, and we came and asked Bill, or you, Kerry, would, because there's 2 of us, would that constitute a special meeting?
No.
Because we're asking for clarification? But it's,
No,
It's gonna
but
be
it
advertised.
could be considered ex parte communication if the answer that I give you is not shared with the rest of the group. So-
In essence, with the public too.
Right, and the public. So basically, any information that you obtain, that you get, has to be shared in front of the public and with the other members in front of the public. So the classic example is if you have a discussion, even if it's just one person having a discussion in the grocery line with someone else about an item, that's considered ex parte communication because you're getting information that other people are not privy to. So that, this gentleman recommended having a line ready to go. So if someone comes up to you outside of town hall, outside of a meeting specifically, I can't discuss this at this time.
So we all tend to take offense.
It's all carried.
Of course,
It's
it's
all
his, you know,
poker.
he's very, very conservative and, you know,
Forward
rightfully so.
so I can't talk to my neighbors if they come and ask me a question about zoning, or.
No, no,
No,
if it's,
like
no, if
yourself.
it's factual.
If you have something, if it's on the agenda,
Mhm.
or it's possible, if it's filed or something like that, any type of business, we should not be discussing outside, amongst ourselves with Carrie or with anybody else. But if somebody comes in and says, I'm gonna put a pool in my backyard, like.
What's the
stand-
process? Who do I
yeah,
have to
the
talk
standard
to?
is, yeah, I mean, you should go to, you're gonna have to file a permit, you're gonna have to do electrical, you need a permit for that. Town hall, talks to the folks down in planning and zoning, and then you know, the guidance you need. But yeah, I mean, for general stuff, you can have a conversation, but something's definitely on the agenda, or something that might be pending, or somebody might be thinking about submitting an application, probably should have a conversation with them.
So one of my neighbors asked me, what's going on in the center of Northbury? I have to cover my ears and run from the room.
What do you mean?
That's awfully.
Or you can just say, call Carrie.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
safest way.
No, well,
I mean-
if it was discussed during an open meeting today, you can discuss what happened today.
Yeah.
It's all
If
public.
there's something on the record, I mean, if somebody comes,
That's my answer.
if somebody said what's going down there, down the center,
Right.
there was a proposal that came in front of us at one time, so yeah, some marketing company came up with a proposal, it's being redone, the town council has been involved in that, there's minutes on that, as long as it's on the record.
Commercial.
I mean, it's just-
So if
It's on the
it
agenda.
was discussed, and it was on the agenda and it was discussed on camera, then it's
like
public information.
Right.
Gotcha.
you can always tell them, go to the film.
All right, suppose that, if somebody comes to you with a lot of complaints, that apparently they've been to you and nothing's been done, and now they've come to me asking me what we're gonna do about it. I told them that we have a zoning enforcement officer, and, you know, the argument is, well, still, nothing's being done. I don't know where you take it from there.
So you file it to the proper channels, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, that's what apparently you did.
But, I mean, because of stuff like that, we don't have any influence anyway.
I know, that's what I told them, there's nothing I can do.
It is, yeah.
But,
Has anything been done about, Joe Boy's place? Are we still, Spazanos?
So, yes, there has. So, when was the last time we met? June 16th. So, I think it was that week, actually. I was subpoenaed. I had to go to Superior Court. No one had to testify, but this was the case where DEP was the plaintiff, and they brought, Joe Spazzano and Mark DeLongo's company, which is TF, great name, to court for dumping. That's what DEP's focus was on, was the illegal dumping that's been going on at 400, 209, 127 Forest, New Bigs Way rear, and I believe 410, the one just north of 400. So ultimately what happened is that they settled, and the judge was looking not only at DEP's case, but there was an eviction case because Mark DeLongo is trying to evict Joe Spazzano. So the judgment that came out of that is that, let's see, Joe Spazzano has been directed to hire a consultant. He is to bring that consultant's name to DEP to clean up all of those properties. He's been instructed to pay $75,000 to the state, and there's an eviction, so that's all on the cleanup side. The eviction process is that Joe Spazzano has to remove all of his equipment and any material that he is claiming as his own from everything except 400. He has to bring it all onto 400 to tuck it. And he has, I think, until the end of July to do that. He has between now and June of next year to live at 400, then he is being evicted unless he can come up with $750,000 to pay for, to buy the property. So,
And what about all the trucks that are hauling out of there?
right,
all
so
day long?
there's really two big issues. There's the dumping and the eviction, which the town really has nothing to do with. The town is concerned about the dumping, and then there's the truck traffic. So the truck traffic is really related to the quarry. Tom Hogarty and I have spent a lot of time, and we're continuing to really check all the boxes and go through everything, because we're continuing to get a lot of complaints from residents, because there are a ton of trucks on Totucket Road. So we met with, over the phone anyway, talked with the Attorney General's office, had a debrief with them and DEP as a result of the judgment. We met with the town attorney and one of his partners, Peter Verdun, this week, to try and say, okay, what's our angle? Can we look at it from zoning? It seems like we don't have much from a zoning side because of so the quarry, I'm getting into the quarry stuff and the trucking. It's all in East Haven. They claim that it's pre-existing, non-conforming. They have affidavits from prior zoning officers, both, in East Haven. So there's a lot against us on the zoning side. We're looking at other options. So I think that we're getting closer to maybe even coming before planning and zoning to say, okay, here's where we are. We're about to meet with the town manager in the next few weeks. And then maybe, depending on what the residents want to do or what the town attorney recommends, I don't know if we go to town council to say, does the town want to take this on? I mean, I don't know how far we want to go with this.
When he's gotta get the money, or he's evicted by when?
1 year.
he has till the end of July to clean up everything.
Well, to get everything off,
$75,000 in to the state.
to remove his equipment from those other properties, not necessarily clean it up. So the interesting thing is, in talking with the Attorney General's office and DEP, they have no expectation that he'll hire a consultant
Yeah, right, he won't.
or really
pay.
remove or pay.
Yeah, he won't.
But in the meantime, the good side is that Mark DeLongo is working with DEP and has hired a consultant doing characterization and is moving forward on different parcels one at a time. He is. Yep.
So
Yeah, he picked it up.
So wait, the quarry is in East
They
Haven?
don't pay any taxes.
Any part of it, no part of it, North Branford?
No, the scale house, I believe, is still in North Branford, but in talking with them and having concerns about that, because we don't allow for quarrying in a residential zone, and we don't believe that it is pre-existing non-conforming. They've been talking about moving it entirely in East Haven, but that hasn't been done yet.
I don't see there were cows, are they, I'm sorry. I was just wondering what the cows.
There are cows there, but he does not have a license. You need approval from the Department of Ag for milking, so he does not have that anymore.
Now, in our residential zoning, the roads are not made to handle heavy construction equipment on a daily basis. Now, I've seen signs, no through truck traffic. Now, if there's signs like that put up, and a dedicated
Yep.
officer with a very thick ticket book start ticketing the trucks
But
coming
here's
through.
the hole in that argument, because we've outlined that one. So interestingly enough, that road, Totucket Road, was designated in the seventies, I think, as a no through truck road. Which when we saw that, we were like, yes, we got them. Nope, because they're not going through, they're going to a destination. So,
We're not
that's,
going through.
they're not, it's not a cut
To the
through.
quarry and.
They're going to the quarry and then they're leaving.
Oh, so you're saying cut through, so
Yeah,
big enough
they
for
would have to
maybe
go all the way
going
up.
all the way up, is
Right.
cut through, yeah.
Right, so it's
Well,
not.
aren't they going to Route 80 through?
Yeah, but that's not,
They're
they're
going
not
direct,
going
they're not-
all the
They're going
way
from
through.
point A
Yeah.
to point
As-
B.
You can't, because you couldn't,
A
you
shortcut.
can't shut them off and say no trucks on the road, but they can't cut through, like a truck can't go from North Branford to Northford on that road. There's no through traffic, but for them to go from point A to
To
point B.
conduct business, that's, and you're right, I mean, that's where we are so frustrated, because it is having a big impact on the roads. And Tom Hogarty went and spoke with the scale house operator. One day, a few weeks ago, they had 100 trucks. That's 200 trips a day. And they operate on Saturdays, so.
What about back taxes?
What's that?
It was back taxes.
I believe the town attorney said that the back taxes are being paid for 400. And the other I don't know the exact properties, but he is making payments,
DeLongo owns all the properties,
yes.
and they're all in North Branford?
Something more.
No, the quarries and.
No, but I mean, all the other, but when he told the other guy to move his equipment off the property.
Yes,
So
but
one
now we're going
guy
back to the dumping stuff. I just wanna differentiate
said
that.
to move all the equipment, all the 400. So this other guy who's renting 400 is storing his equipment on multiple sites?
Well, right, it had been his property, and it wasn't just equipment, it was dumping leaves of tree stumps, telephone poles, tires.
You can go back to Google Maps and you can see, get aerial views to see if how long the quote's been there.
We did,
It's been.
we did, the challenge.
I don't need Google Maps, I need Ground Maps.
No, the state has historical
Aerial.
photos, so we use that, that's what I used when I, argued to the ZBA, which they upheld the cease and desist on 400, but now that's in court as well. But that doesn't address the quarry in East Haven, because we have no jurisdiction in East Haven, and what, Hogarty and I have been saying is, how can one town do whatever they want and have an impact on an adjacent town? And
Could they just put a road
How
in
can
there?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, we've never done that.
If they built a road and exited on the East Haven and went out that way,
They would still, they would go down Borelli, take a left onto Borelli, and then come down to Tuckett.
no, but I mean, if they didn't go, if they just started going the other direction,
I don't know why they would though. It's
so
a
they're not
shorter
coming
route
through
to
into North Branford.
That would be great.
They go out to North Haven, go down, is it McDermott, whatever it is, or right?
Yeah,
Follow it out till
I
it's.
don't know if truck's gonna wanna go through that road anyway.
It's a lot straighter than it is going down through the,
Well,
It's just a question of how do we regulate that, and how do we enforce it?
Which
So
one is
it's-
400? Is it the barn or the house that's 400? Or is it that,
It's all one.
and so that whole
All of those main buildings.
there's no way that barn could be condemned, is it?
I don't know. Yeah, so, there's a lot
Sounds
of,
like
we're going
the
through the
course,
process,
yeah.
but,
In the right direction.
yes.
alright.
Okay.
Your choice.
Motion that we adjourn.
second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none? Thank you for joining. Here, are you taking a week off of April?
Yes.
You want this?